We are now just days away from the Flight 6 of the Starship, and there are already some important updates coming from Starbase. In this video, we'll go over all the latest developments. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any updates about Starship and SpaceX's progress. SpaceX is in the final stages of preparing for Starship's 6th flight test, scheduled for November 18, 2024, from Starbase, Texas. This mission aims to test several critical systems, including a new heat shield configuration and an in-space engine relight. Normally, Starship's heat shield consists of thousands of hexagonal tiles made from specially engineered ceramic materials. These tiles are essential for protecting the spacecraft during re-entry into Earth's atmosphere when it experiences extreme heat and pressure. During re-entry, temperatures on the surface of the spacecraft can reach up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, approximately 1,650 degrees Celsius. This intense heat could severely damage unprotected areas, making the heat shield an essential component. For this flight, SpaceX has deliberately left sections of the heat shield tiles off the spacecraft, particularly around areas like the forward flaps. This decision was not a design oversight, but an intentional move to test how unshielded parts of the spacecraft perform under these extreme conditions. The experiment is expected to bring important data about alternative materials and methods for thermal protection. By exposing certain areas to re-entry conditions without the usual ceramic tiles, SpaceX engineers can closely monitor how the underlying structure and any experimental materials respond to the heat and stress. Another critical aspect of Flight 6 involves the in-space relighting of a Raptor engine. This test is scheduled to take place approximately 37 minutes and 46 seconds into the mission. The relight test is fundamental for demonstrating the Raptor engine's ability to perform crucial orbital maneuvers. In practical terms, a spacecraft must be able to restart its engines while in space to carry out a variety of operations. These include adjusting its orbit, aligning with other spacecraft for docking, performing deorbit burns for controlled re-entry, and even executing complex course corrections during interplanetary missions. SpaceX is actively preparing for Starship Flight 6, focusing on the integration and testing of Booster 13 and Ship 31, the latest prototypes in their development series. Booster 13 represents a significant advancement in SpaceX's Super Heavy booster development. The initial components of Booster 13 were identified in December 2022, with stacking commencing in September 2023. This booster incorporates several design improvements over its predecessors, including a new style of flight termination system box located at the bottom of its methane tank. On October 22, 2024, Booster 13 was transported to the orbital launch pad at SpaceX's Starbase facility. Subsequently, on October 24th, it successfully conducted a static fire test involving all 33 Raptor engines, marking a critical milestone in its pre-flight validation process. Ship 31 serves as the upper stage for the upcoming flight. Its development began with the identification of its thrust puck in August 2022, followed by stacking and assembly. Ship 31 underwent a successful static fire test on September 18, 2024, demonstrating the functionality of its 3 sea-level and 3 vacuum-optimized Raptor engines. On November 11, 2024, Ship 31 was rolled out to the launch site, signaling its readiness for integration with Booster 13. Both Booster 13 and Ship 31 incorporate enhancements based on data and experiences from earlier prototypes. Structural modifications have been made to increase durability and reduce weight. Ship 31 features an updated heat shield configuration, and the Raptor engines on both stages have undergone iterative refinements to improve thrust, efficiency, and reliability. With only 4 days remaining until Starship Flight 6, SpaceX is accelerating final preparations at Starbase, Texas, to ensure all systems are ready for the historic launch scheduled for November 18th. The current focus is on the last critical tests and validations to ensure Booster 13 and Ship 31 are fully operational and integrated. Today, SpaceX is expected to conduct final integrated systems checks following the stacking of Ship 31 on Booster 13. These tests are essential to confirm that the two stages are communicating seamlessly and that all systems are functioning as a single unit. If not already completed, SpaceX will likely carry out a cryogenic proof test today or tomorrow. This involves filling the rocket's tanks with liquid nitrogen, a safer substitute for actual propellants, to simulate the extreme cold and pressure conditions the vehicle will encounter during launch. This test ensures that the tanks, valves, and plumbing can handle the stresses of cryogenic propellant loading without leaks or structural weaknesses. In the next 1 to 2 days, SpaceX is also expected to conduct a full-stack static fire test, which will involve igniting all 33 Raptor engines on Booster 13 while the vehicle remains firmly secured to the launch pad. This test will confirm the engine's performance, ensure proper propellant flow. The water deluge system, designed to protect the launch pad and rocket from the intense heat and acoustic vibrations of liftoff, may undergo final checks. This system floods the pad with large volumes of water during engine ignition, helping to suppress sound waves and cool the infrastructure. Around 1 to 2 days before launch, SpaceX will perform a wet dress rehearsal. This test involves loading the rocket with actual liquid methane and liquid oxygen propellants and executing a full countdown sequence, stopping just before engine ignition. The wet dress rehearsal is a crucial pre-launch activity that validates the fueling process, ground support equipment, and countdown protocols. On launch day, SpaceX will begin fueling operations several hours before liftoff, closely following the timeline established during the wet dress rehearsal. Final checks, including weather assessments and range safety verifications, will ensure all conditions are optimal for launch. The flight director will perform a final systems poll approximately 1 hour before liftoff, giving the official go for launch. These final tests and rehearsals are very important for the success of Flight 6. While SpaceX is busy with the final preparations for Starship Flight 6, it is also making significant advancements with its Falcon 9 rocket. On November 11, 2024, SpaceX successfully launched the KoreaSat 6A telecommunications satellite using a Falcon 9 booster that had been reused for the 23rd time. This milestone highlights SpaceX's lead in reusable rocket technology, which has completely transformed how space missions are conducted. In the past, rockets were used only once. After the first stage delivered its payload to orbit, it was discarded, typically falling into the ocean. This practice made space exploration extremely expensive, as the most costly part of the rocket was lost after each launch. SpaceX changed this by designing the Falcon 9's first stage for recovery and reuse. After completing its primary mission, the booster is guided back to Earth through a carefully controlled process. This involves using grid fins for precise maneuvering in the atmosphere and reigniting engines for a series of burns to slow down and land safely. SpaceX has 2 methods for recovering Falcon 9 boosters. The first is landing the booster on a drone ship positioned in the ocean. These autonomous ships are stationed where the booster doesn't have enough fuel to return to the launch site. The second method is landing on ground-based landing pads near the launch area. The drone ships, named Of Course I Still Love You and Just Read the Instructions, are equipped with robotic systems like the Octograbber, which secures the booster to the deck after landing. This ensures safe transportation of the booster back to port for refurbishment and reuse. The 23rd flight of the same Falcon 9 booster is an extraordinary achievement that highlights the effectiveness of SpaceX's reusable rocket system. That's all for today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for future updates and stay tuned for more exciting content. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.